The situation with Avowed is not looking good at all. Most people are already not okay with paying $70 for a AA game. Well, $70 even for a AAA game is expensive now. I mean, people are literally and ironically saying that you need to pay them to play Dragon Age Railcard at this point. But it's getting worse for Avowed.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, so we got a very interesting story coming to us from Smash JT talking about Obsidian Entertainment and a recent email that he received about an internal email. It's a literal screenshot of an internal email that was made by the CEO of Obsidian Entertainment, essentially talking about the conversation that's been happening around Avowed and how he wants to go about handling it. And of course, the CEO of Obsidian thinks that the best way to handle the drama and the backlash around his video game is to put his head in the sand and pretend like none of this is happening.
The classic ostrich play. Effective if you're a moron. Ah, the constant ceiling bird chirping. I can't.
This is fine. I'm okay with the events that are unfolding currently. That's okay. Things are gonna be okay.
Yeah, you typically don't get to see this far.
Now, I gotta tell you, ladies and gentlemen, it is not shocking to me in the slightest that this is the method that they want to utilize in order to handle the backlash that is coming their way about Avowed and the pronouns and all the nonsense that we know is gonna be in that game.
Now, to be fair, this is probably the best thing they can do because the other one is just calling people evil, misogynist, Nazi chuds. By the way, proud everything of that right here, boys. 10 out of 10. Over again. And yeah, that's usually their choice of actions, and that is typically way worse.
Based off the way that they like to talk about it, and just based off the way that they're acting, it's very clear that this particular game from Obsidian is going to be most likely woke as hell. But with that being said, we have an email with Smash JT, and it proves that he is not only handling it terribly, but he essentially is pretty much threatening his employees in a way like, hey, you can talk about what you want to talk about.
After the Avowed leaks happened, oh boy, yeah, he pissed.
But if you do, you know what I mean? It's one of those things. So let's get into this article from SmashJT.com. But of course, before we do, if you are new here, just consider hitting that subscribe button. I would greatly appreciate it. And like the video to push us out into that YouTube algorithm. So the headline reads, I got an email from the CEO of Obsidian telling me exactly what they're doing, and it's not pretty. If you look at this headline here, this is the headline of the email that was sent to the employees over at Obsidian. And it says, Avowed online controversy, you and your online presence, required reading. Yes, little boys, you gotta read this.
Now, listen. I am a forensic crime analyst scene person, and just from the pixelation, this is fake. Okay? See that pixel? It shouldn't be there. I'm pretty sure someone's gonna actually unironically try to say that
thing, you know what I mean? They treat them like little kids over there. An anonymous whistleblower for Obsidian Entertainment has leaked to me directly an internal email sent to the entire company, signed by none other than Fergus Urquhart, the CEO of the studio.
By the way, that is the dumbest thing you can do. You're sending an email to everyone, and you already know that there are leakers inside of your studio. And you do that? That's just dumb.
Email provides a sad glimpse directly inside the current state of Obsidian Entertainment. The insider has also revealed something both surprising and humbling. A lot of employees at Obsidian have been watching my videos in particular, covering this unfolding situation. Over the past few weeks, since the Matt Hansen controversy erupted, I've been inundated with messages from folks connected to the studio in some way, shape, or form, all with eerily similar sentiments, almost like, I don't know, a pattern of poor and misguided leadership. You be the judge. Now, one thing I find very interesting.
Now, one thing that I will say, this is not a pattern of poor and misguided leadership. This is just identity politics. This has nothing to do with leadership. This has nothing to do with anything. It's just the fact that this guy right here is insane. Is an insane leftist.
Interesting is that that's most likely true, right? Because the fact of the matter is, this studio has more whistleblowers than any studio has ever had that we've ever dealt with.
Now, to be fair, Naughty Dog only announced their game for, 5 minutes and already the plot was leaked. But that's normal for Naughty Dog, honestly.
A long shot. And the fact that they happened so soon and so close to each other, chances are one person saw a video of Smash JT over at their studio, decided to share it with other employees at the studio that they trusted, and before you know it, there's an internal click going on of basically Smash JT viewers, or, Chud viewers, right? People over at Obsidian that love the Chud's content. They probably watch my content too, for all we know, but they love the Chud's content, and they're basically leaking information to Smash JT in the hopes that it gets out.
Honestly, if you're a developer, you're working in the super dumb woke company, you probably do get a kick out of, stuff like this because it is hilarious. By the way, I also have an email, and I will cover things, and I will actually make sure that no one gets found because I know what to look for because business experience, So, if anyone wants, there you go.
And people realize what's going on at their company. Because the sad truth of the matter is, with people like this at the helm and with weirdos like this being protected over there at Obsidian, the people like the ones who are leaking information to Smash JT, they're not exactly feeling very welcome there. They're probably not exactly feeling very safe there. So they have only one method to really get their word out there without getting fired, and that's to leak the information. So then a picture has been slowly brought into focus here, and it's not a pretty one. The whistleblower stated in their message, echoing what many folks have said to me in the past. While I disagree with everything Matt and others are doing at the studio, I do worry about feeding the outrage machine. However, I also worry that nothing will ever change for the better as long as people are ignorant of what's going on. Obsidian, the once beloved creators of classics like Fallout New Vegas and The Outer Worlds, find themselves at a serious crossroad. The internal climate is one of division, frustration, and stagnation. The whistleblower continues. The problem at Obsidian is cultural, and culture flows from the top. I agree 100%.
That is true. Culture is the one thing that flows from the top.
According to the leaker and multiple other employees who've reached out to Smash, a significant portion of the staff agrees that Matt Hansen is a roadblock, stifling true creative freedoms in favor of pushing extreme ideologies. Now,
the truth is this person does think that he's not stifling anything because these extreme ideologies are creative freedom in his opinion. And technically they are, but it's fucking stupid.
I'll say this. You gotta imagine just how crazy it must be in this game, because if they're saying that Matt has extreme ideologies, and the only thing that we've seen so far is pronouns in the character creator, what else are they hiding, right?
We have seen pronouns in the character creator. We have seen how absolutely disgustingly ugly all the female characters look. And I'm not talking about actually, the making yourself ugly. That's fine, even though I use that as a meme for thumbnails. But most female NPCs look like they were just born out of a man's loins, so they do kind of have it. And other things, for example, the small portions and snippets of dialogues that I have seen, they seem very basic. They seem very much like they look at the player and think to themselves, well, this person has an IQ of roughly -50, so we need to guide him by the hand to literally everything because fucking autism, that's what.
Like, what else could be in this game that someone who is obsessed with ideologies would potentially put into the game? Because I gotta imagine it's probably some extreme stuff. And if they're saying these things, that means we have yet to see the full capability of Avowed in terms of their ideology or the wokeness of the video game or whatever the case may be.
By the way, you know what's on my bingo card for Avowed? Misunderstood something. A evil faction that is actually just misunderstood or something. Because reasons. And they are obviously doing objectively evil things, but the core of them is that misunderstood. And maybe you should help them because reasons.
We haven't seen the full, we haven't seen the final boss yet. Matt has no fear of being fired because long before Microsoft bought Obsidian, this was the culture. Microsoft only further reinforces that particular world and cultural view. There are some...
we have heard this, by the way, sentiment many times at this point, that yeah, this is the culture of Microsoft themselves, and they reinforce it, which is insane. Well, that's why Microsoft is actually switching away from actually making games and running Xbox to just being kind of like a subscription platform. Good luck with that, Microsoft, you bunch of idiots.
That they're pushed back against it.
Because I already talked about why that is absolutely moronic and insane of a strategy, and the fact that they actually are going with it means that they are desperate.
Most just left. And this is the problem here, too, where you end up getting such an echo chamber where the employees that want to push back against this nonsense, they can't do it because they're so outnumbered, right? This is the problem. They do these ideologies because they know they have the numbers, at least in their little echo chambers. This is why they don't like the internet. This is why they don't like Twitter. This is why they don't like conversing with YouTubers.
I mean, that's why they went to Blue Sky. Wait, what was it called? Blue Sky? Whatever. The one with the butterfly. Which is ironic, because that's the tramp stamp also. Whatever. Okay? And now they're back on Twitter, as much as I understand, because reasons.
Because that has to shatter their echo chamber. That has to shatter their worldview, and they don't want to do it. When they go to work every day, they view other people in the same manner because they're all the same. There is no diversity of thought. Everybody's literally the same over there, and it doesn't matter if they look different. They're all part of the same hive mind. So you have the couple of people there that are trying to fight against it, and they can't because they're severely outnumbered. So this is the way they fight back. This is the only way that they can fight back. It says, while the email from Fergus doesn't name names, it inadvertently highlights the cracks forming in the studio's foundation. All right, so let's read the email.
The cracks have probably been forming forever. That's the trick here.
And see what he actually had to say. So the CEO says, many of you have probably seen the controversy online about Avowed over the last 4 or 5 days. I am not going to speak directly to what is happening because the way we are going to deal with this, unless things change, is to let it blow over. Of course you are. Heads in the sand, ladies and gentlemen, always. I have always dealt with things like this by not giving them more air.
Now, to be fair, unironically, that is probably one of the best strategies that you can employ, but it's not like people are going to forget.
Time. Well, that's not going to work anymore, because here's the truth. These kind of people dealt with those things that way because the mainstream access media, the games journalism, they were around and they had control over the narrative. Now they're pretty much gone. The mainstream gaming industry doesn't really have a games media anymore.
True. And also, again, people will stop talking about it, but people will not forget. You can hide your hand in the sand, and people are going to stop being interested in talking about it. But the moment you release or are about to release, people are going to bring it up again. You're not going to hide from that.
Very few and far between there is any journalists out there anymore. It's less than 40 in all of its entirety. So they really don't have that level of damage control or that level of story suppression anymore. Now YouTubers are essentially the media. And now we're at the point where if you think this is going to work, just as Dragon Age the Veilguard, how that worked, and you tell me if you think this is a sound strategy. Now to talk about how you all engage online. Oh, sorry. You have probably all noticed that our language at Obsidian is to walk a tightrope when it comes to how we ask you to think about your online presence. You have all heard me say that you're your own people, and of course have every right to say,
oh, is this the veiled threat part? I think this was the veiled threat part.
What you want to say, wherever you want to say it. Something I staunchly believe in personally, whether I like what you say or not. That freedom does come with challenges and responsibilities, particularly when you talk about things that are associated with our games or games in general. What you say can, and then it cuts off. And this is a worse cliffhanger than Half-Life 2. Seriously, like, what are we doing here? If you're going to be a whistleblower, leak the entire thing. Don't give me freaking whistleblower DLC where I got to look forward to the next episode before I get the full story. You know what I'm saying? Like, I hate
that was
the fact that he cut this off. But we really don't know what it says at the end of the day. He could have said anything. I'm going to imagine, like Smash, that it says something along the lines, we are going to, what you can say can be used against you, or what you can say can bring harm to the studio, blah, 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 something to that extent. I really don't know because it was cut off. But ultimately, ladies and gentlemen, it's very clear that Obsidian Entertainment is
no, it's pretty obvious that that's going to be something like that. But yeah, Avowed. I mean, leave in the comments down below. Do you think Avowed has a shot? I don't think so. Just the fact that it's $70 is a killer. In any case, That was Hypno, a Pokemon. Anyway, have a nice day. Bye-bye.